The Great Rejection: How Black Women Are Building an Economic Revolution While America Isn't Looking Good. Morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this special TED Talk. I'm absolutely thrilled to share with you some remarkable insights I gained from my recent interview with Sherkia Barrientez, a visionary economic analyst whose work is literally reshaping how we understand resilience in America's economy. Sherkia isn't just analyzing data, she's illuminating the invisible economic revolution happening right beneath our noses. Her groundbreaking research on Black women's entrepreneurship has created ripples of transformation across communities nationwide, empowering thousands to reimagine their economic futures outside traditional systems that were never designed for their success. What I'm about to share with you today challenges everything we think we know about economic crisis and opportunity. It's a story of remarkable contradiction, of doors slamming shut and windows flying open, of systemic barriers and revolutionary responses. Let me start with something that might shock you. In April 2025, Black women lost 106,000 jobs in the conventional workforce. Their unemployment rate jumped from 5.1% to 6.1% in a single month. This happened while the national unemployment rate remained steady at 4.2%. Now, conventional wisdom would suggest this represents an economic catastrophe for Black women. And in many ways, it does. But here's where things get fascinating and where Sherkia's research becomes truly revolutionary. During this same period, Black women emerged as the leading force in new business creation across America. They're not just participating in entrepreneurship, they're driving it forward with unprecedented momentum. This apparent contradiction reveals something profound about our economic landscape. What we're witnessing isn't just a response to job loss, it's a fundamental economic pivot, a renaissance of entrepreneurship catalyzed by systemic barriers in traditional employment. Black women aren't waiting for doors to open, they're building entirely new structures. As Sherkia so eloquently put it during our interview, when traditional systems fail to provide stability, Black women create their own stability through entrepreneurship. This isn't just adaptation, it's economic revolution. Let's dig deeper into what's actually happening here. Federal employment has traditionally been a pathway to middle class stability for Black women, offering better protections against discrimination than many private sector jobs. When these opportunities began disappearing, it created both a crisis and catalyst for transformation. Take Janelle, a former federal employee with 12 years of service. When her department was restructured, she found herself suddenly unemployed with a mortgage and two children in college. Instead of spending months in a job search where the odds were stacked against her, she leveraged her expertise in healthcare administration to launch a medical billing service specifically designed for small community clinics. Within 18 months, she was employing 5 people and serving 12 clinics across 3 states. Janelle's story isn't an anomaly, it's becoming the norm. The data tells us something remarkable is happening. The share of women owned businesses has increased by 69% since 2019, with Black women playing a central role in this transformation. By 2024, women started nearly half, 49%, of all new businesses in America, the highest recorded share in history. This isn't just a statistical blip, it's a seismic shift in who creates and owns businesses in America. But where exactly are these entrepreneurs focusing their efforts? The data shows Black women entrepreneurs have strategically positioned themselves in specific industry sectors where they can maximize their impact and success. By 2024, women started 68% of new businesses in community services and 58% in personal assistance sectors. This includes healthcare, social assistance, and retail. This industry concentration reflects both market opportunity and the values many Black women entrepreneurs bring to their businesses, often focusing on addressing community needs. Consider Maya, who launched a specialized home health care service after losing her position at a major hospital system. Her business model specifically addresses cultural barriers in healthcare for immigrant communities, something she observed firsthand during her hospital career but could never address within that rigid system. Her company now employs 27 people and serves over 200 families, providing culturally responsive care that simply didn't exist before. As Sherkia noted in our conversation, Black women entrepreneurs aren't just building businesses, they're reimagining entire industries through the lens of community care and service. Now, starting businesses is one thing, growing them successfully is another challenge entirely. Black women entrepreneurs have historically faced barriers to capital, networking opportunities, and market access, making business growth difficult even after successful launch. Despite these obstacles, Black women business owners have implemented innovative strategies to grow their customer base and increase revenues. Between 2019 and 2023, Black and African American women owned businesses saw average revenues increase by 32.7%. Let that sink in for a moment. During a period of significant economic turbulence, including the pandemic and its aftermath, these businesses demonstrated remarkable resilience and adaptability. This revenue growth outpaced many other business segments, showing the effectiveness of Black women entrepreneurs in building sustainable business models. The success of these businesses has created wealth building opportunities, not just for the owners, but also for their communities through job creation and service provision. When Black women build wealth through entrepreneurship, Sherkia emphasized during our interview, that wealth circulates and multiplies within communities that have historically been denied economic opportunity. What we're witnessing is nothing short of a transformation in how economic power is distributed and wielded in America. But let's be crystal clear, this entrepreneurial pivot isn't happening because it's easy. It's happening despite the fact that it's extraordinarily difficult. Black women entrepreneurs continue to face significant barriers to success. Access to capital remains a persistent challenge, with Black women receiving less than 1% of venture capital funding. Banking relationships, crucial for business growth, are harder to establish and maintain. Networking opportunities, often the lifeblood of business development, remain stratified by race and gender. Yet, despite these barriers, or perhaps because of them, Black women entrepreneurs have developed remarkable strategies for success. They've created their own networks, established alternative funding mechanisms, leveraged digital platforms to bypass traditional gatekeepers, and built business models that prioritize sustainability over rapid scaling. As Sherkia pointed out, the very obstacles Black women face in entrepreneurship have forced them to innovate in ways that often make their businesses more resilient and community centered. This brings us to a profound insight about economic systems and opportunity. Sometimes the greatest innovations emerge not from privilege, but from necessity. The entrepreneurial approaches developed by Black women in response to systemic barriers aren't just survival strategies, they're blueprints for a more inclusive and sustainable economic future. The question isn't whether Black women can succeed as entrepreneurs despite systemic barriers. The data clearly shows they already are. The question is what our economic landscape might look like if these barriers were removed. What might be possible if Black women entrepreneurs had equal access to capital, networks, and opportunities? How might our communities transform if the businesses already succeeding against the odds were given the resources to scale their impact? These aren't just questions about equity, though equity matters profoundly. They're questions about our collective economic potential. When we systematically exclude or disadvantage certain groups from full economic participation, we don't just harm those groups, we diminish our entire economic ecosystem. The entrepreneurial pivot we're witnessing among Black women isn't just changing individual economic trajectories, it's challenging fundamental assumptions about how our economy works, who it works for, and how success is defined and achieved. As Sherkia so powerfully stated, Black women entrepreneurs aren't just building businesses, they're modeling an economic future where prosperity is measured not just by profit margins, but by community impact, sustainability, and the distribution of opportunity. This brings me to a quote that Sherkia shared during our interview that has stayed with me. When they close the door, don't waste time knocking, build your own house. This philosophy captures the essence of what we're seeing in the data, a refusal to be defined by systemic limitations and a determination to create new economic realities. So, where do we go from here? What does this economic revolution demand of us? It demands that we recognize what's happening not as a temporary response to job loss, but as a fundamental reimagining of economic participation. It demands that we question why we continue to invest billions in economic development strategies that reinforce old power structures while underfunding the entrepreneurial revolution happening right before our eyes. It demands that we ask ourselves, what if the future of our economy isn't in massive corporations or venture backed startups, but in community centered businesses built by those who have been systematically excluded from traditional economic power? What if Black women entrepreneurs aren't just creating businesses, but are actually building the economic structures of the future? Structures that prioritize sustainability, community impact, and distributed prosperity over extraction and concentration of wealth. I challenge you today to look beyond conventional economic narratives. See the revolution happening in plain sight. Ask yourself how you might support, learn from, or participate in this transformation. Whether you're an investor, a policymaker, a business owner, or a consumer, you have a role to play in either reinforcing old systems or building new ones. The economic revolution being led by Black women entrepreneurs isn't just changing their lives, it's offering us all a blueprint for a more resilient, equitable, and sustainable economic future. The only question is whether we'll have the wisdom to recognize it, the humility to learn from it, and the courage to help build it. Thank you.